If you notice in my recent videos, I've pretty much just been out and about, just like having fun pretty much, and I can't be doing serious talk videos all the time, I also want to be able to have fun with it. However, tonight's gonna be one of those nights because last night, maybe even a couple nights ago, I've been having this repetitive thought that's been running through my mind. I'm gonna be honest, it's been bugging me pretty much, so I guess it's a sign for me to share it to you. But if you hear the phrase, you can't afford to be sad or angry, what kind of things go through your mind when you hear that? Money, surviving, stoicism. You can kind of sense what I'm trying to talk about just by hearing those things. I personally think they're pretty well connected together, but at this current time that I'm recording, I'm pretty much a young adult going into school with maybe a couple $100s to my name. I'm pretty much a simple nobody who's trying to get his name out there into the world, And if I were to guess, you who is watching this video right now is probably in the same situation as I am. If you and I are thinking and living alike, I'm pretty sure that there are some frustrations and realities that both you and I have to face with a certain stoicism, which is where I'm trying to get at. But a quick disclaimer though, by no means am I depressed or calling out for help or anything like that. I certainly don't need any pity. There's this common reality that we all commonly face that I want to analyze introspectively because I pretty much just want to create like an awareness of it and just like kind of dissect like what's really going on in this world, But anyway, some of which of these issues, number one, probably includes financial stability. Especially the state that America is in right now, it's very difficult for even the mature adults to secure a home for themselves. Inflation's just kicking our asses, just making it really hard for us to live, especially on our own. Being forced to live with our parents and all that. Having to deal with certain relationships between others or yourself, or even just the concept of time itself. Trying to find the balance of all the things that you like to do versus the things that you have to do before you die pretty much. And all of this stuff just starts to become an amalgamation of pressure that starts to seep within the cracks of our society and deep into our culture. And so now you can see why this type of pressure is constantly berating you through other people, media, or even your close loved ones. Everything just feels like a giant rat race. We're all just trying to race each other to see who can become more rich, more famous, who can be more quote-unquote successful. And if it makes you feel better, I'm pretty much no different than the average person. But from the way that I've grew up, I've always seen those types of emotions to be more of a privilege, something that you've earned now that you're free from this sort of pressure. Because what kind of time do you have when you're dealing with like bills or expectations, other types of struggles and all of that? And as unhealthy as it is, cats in the way. Whenever I do end up feeling this type of emotion, at the end of that cycle, I've always saw myself as pathetic. I inherently feel the same pressure, that urge, or maybe toxicity, I don't know, to just tell myself to try to get this goal done, try to get this done, try to get this, just like a lot of things. Personally, it's just something that I need to be more aware of. It's not like a problem or anything, but obviously that type of thinking can lead you to all sorts of different problems. Jealousy at that too. Now, I'm not saying this happens to me all the time. Let's just say on the worst day possible. If I see somebody with a really fancy car or house, the internet isn't really that bad for me. But maybe in person, if I'll be honest to you, within those types of circumstances, I'd feel a lot of jealousy. I also want to have like a fancy car, fancy house, or whatever. Or maybe even some sort of fame with this whole YouTube thing going on. And if I were to really think about it, I probably just want all those things to symbolize that I can live freely and just letting people know that I don't have these types of pressures and that I can really have the freedom that I really want, Which that in itself is still a bad thing to do because you're foundationally just thinking of what people think about you. So it's just all insecurity from here on there. And then you have culture. It's a really huge thing in Asian cultures. I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot of people talk about it before, but having those immigrant parents puts a lot of that pressure on top of you. Because money is like the main driving force of all the things happening in the world, obviously it's better to have a lot of that, right? But then it gets to a certain point where your decisions aren't your decisions, or your life doesn't really belong to you, doesn't it? Because whatever you do, if it doesn't make any money, doesn't work, right? It's a waste of time. And I guess that's why it's better to go to a prolific college, get the best degree out there, stay there for 4 years, and get a good job, right? And to me, it's very frustrating a lot of the time. And I'm pretty sure it also is very frustrating to those who don't excel in academics and those who do. But to the people who don't, who's constantly getting bad grades, or for some reason you just can't keep up with what they're teaching you, you just feel very lost. Almost to the point where you don't really know yourself. You don't have a whole identity because of the things that we've all been tied to. All the stuff that I just mentioned earlier are very toxic. It's very bad to keep into your head. And it's a very easy trap to get into because it really hits us to the deepest part of our insecurities. And we don't see it every day, but we feel it. And so for me, not being able to afford being emotional, I personally try to turn that reality into some sort of mindset that can motivate myself. But no matter what happens, I guess the world keeps going, right? Time still goes on. And sure, we can think whatever we want. We can't really control our emotions and we'll feel what we feel. But at the very least, I would like to put some of that energy into something more purposeful, maybe using some of that anger into something that benefits your body, like the gym, or maybe even a diary, or maybe even content, you know? As long as it's something, right? Because I'm very aware that we can't all be positive all the time. But of course, everything pretty much is perspective. If you believe that you can't afford to be sad, can't you really? Don't you think you're giving yourself a little too much pressure just to please everybody? And so I'm making this video to pretty much just tell myself to just really slow down. Try to be aware of what you're putting into your mind and body, because obviously these problems may have passed now, but they'll definitely come back again and again, no matter how many times you call it. And it's always good to be aware of what's going on. And just really take care of yourself, because ultimately we're just trying to live to be happy, no matter what we have, no matter where we're at. As long as we feel that genuine happiness, it's a win-win. That's pretty much it for the video. I'm gonna go ahead and shower ready. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.